JBN, we keep you informed. Alleged area leader killed in Painland. There are reports of tension in sections of the southwest St. Andrew community of Painland following the fatal shooting of a reported area leader on Thursday night. The murdered man has been identified as 33-year-old Kevin Cole, who sources say is better known as Impact Jackson. The sources say Cole was the area leader for the section of Painland known as Low Rise. The police have confirmed the killing, which they report happened about 8:30 p.m. on Payne Avenue, close to the entrance of the Haile Selassie High School. According to the police, Cole was attacked by assailants who shot him several times. Investigators are yet to establish a motive for the killing. Cole was one of two persons murdered on Thursday in the St. Andrew South Police Division, where a state of emergency is in effect. The other victim has been identified as 25-year-old Shamar Wright, who was fatally shot on the playfield of the Duane Park Primary School about 10:30 a.m. Man dies in St. Catherine crash. The Gainesville police are reporting that a 43-year-old man of a United Kingdom address died of injuries he sustained in a motor vehicle collision on the Guys Hill Main Road, St. Catherine, on Thursday afternoon. The police report that about 2:35 p.m. Kevin Gordon was riding along the roadway when he allegedly lost control of his motorbike and crashed into a utility pole. Gordon was taken to the hospital where he was pronounced dead. Teacher charged for illegal gun impersonating police. The police have arrested and charged a teacher following his attempt to impersonate a police officer while armed with an illegal gun on Thursday, February 6. The teacher has been identified as 38-year-old Troy Chambers of Killarney Avenue, Kingston 20. Reports are that Chambers visited the Elletson Road police station about 5 p.m. and introduced himself as a sergeant of police. He was in the company of another man whom he claimed he had brought to give a statement to the police. Chambers, who was in possession of a gun, arose the suspicion of officers on duty. He was then asked to produce his police identification card as well as his firearm license, to which he could not. Chambers then admitted to lawmen that he was indeed not a police officer, which immediately led to his arrest and the seizure of his illegal gun, a Glock pistol with 18 rounds of ammunition. On Friday, February 7, investigators visited Chambers' home about 10:30 a.m. with a search warrant, and the following items were seized: 58 rounds of ammunition, 33 spent casings, 5 magazines, a handcuff, a Glock pistol case, a firearm license with the name Carl Samuels, 2 holsters, 1 magazine pouch, and 1 combat belt. Chambers was charged with illegal possession of a gun and ammunition, as well as impersonating a police officer. He is to appear in the gun court on Wednesday, February 12. Who shot Erol Sankey? The loved ones of Old Harbor resident Erol Sankey Jr. are left with many unanswered questions following his murder last Sunday in the vicinity of 3 Miles. Sankey's sister Carolyn said that the police are tight-lipped, but the family has heard much speculation about the incident. We're not hearing anything really, and we have been asking the questions. All I'm wondering is what could have gone wrong. I know it was not a setup because my brother was not involved in any wrongdoing. I just believe that the person who pulled the trigger was just trigger happy, she said. According to reports from the Corporate Communications Unit, Sankey, who was affectionately called Junior, was shot along the Portia Simpson Square in Kingston 11 about 7:10 p.m. on February 2. The 30-year-old was driving his motorcycle when he was shot during a robbery in the area. I am hearing rumors that it was a police officer who did it, while others are saying it was a security guard. We are hearing that it was a shootout, and it was at the wrong place at the wrong time. We also heard that there was a robbery in progress at the same time that he had stopped, and the person who did the shooting thought he was riding the getaway bike. We are hearing different things. We just don't know what is happening, and we really want to know who fired the deadly shot, Carolyn said. She said that her brother had traveled into Kingston to sell a motorbike that he had earlier purchased and repaired. His wife begged him not to go on the road, and he even asked her to come with him, but she didn't. He was about 2 minutes from his destination, but he came to a stop at the stoplight to wait on his friend who was traveling behind him, and he never rode off back. That's where he was shot, she said. She described her little brother as a family-oriented individual and added that his untimely death has taken a toll on his loved ones. He didn't have any children, but he was a really loving and devoted husband to his wife. He was a family-oriented person and loved by a lot of persons. Even as we speak, his mother-in-law is breaking down, and she keeps saying that her big teddy bear is gone. It is really a rough time for the family. His wife is taking it really hard, she said. Psychopaths on the loose. Psychiatrist Senator calls for increased funding to tackle serious mental health problems. There are psychopaths among us. This was the conclusion of Government Senator and Consultant Psychiatrist Dr. Saphire Longmore after recounting some barbaric acts of violence against children and women in the Jamaican society. When someone can slice the throat of an 8-year-old child, when we sit and we hear of the women who are being killed brutally by their ex-partners and spouses, when we hear of the heinous acts of just random killings, this is not just an arbitrary situation. This is a mentally ill society. There are sociopaths and psychopaths among us, Longmore declared on Friday during her contribution to the State of the Nation debate in the Upper House. She argued that strategic plans for mental health had been crafted from the 1990s, with another version done in 2006. It is time for us to put funding behind mental health, she said. The psychiatrist urged the police to enroll the services of some criminal psychologists in their investigations. The government senator's presentation was focused on dealing with the manifestation of mental ill health in the society, as evidenced by violence in the country. Longmore said that many Jamaicans have been diagnosed with depression and post-traumatic stress disorder. She noted that these mental health issues were pervasive in the society, but there were limited trained human resources to deal with these health problems. Earlier in her presentation, Longmore showed her colleague senators a picture of a man who apparently had mental health issues tied to a fence that borders the Constant Spring Golf Course near Norbrook in Upper St. Andrew. Longmore said she was driving with her sons on a Sunday morning when she saw the man tied to the grill. I knew immediately that something was wrong with him mentally, and he said, "Me sick in my head, and me get off and my father come tie me up here, sir," she recounted. Longmore said she asked the disturbed man for his father's number and called him. The father reportedly told Longmore that his son was attacking members of the family with a machete and he just could not take it anymore. Longmore said she instructed the father to seek help from the police to take his son to a psychiatrist for treatment. She also called for every child in Jamaica to be screened for the effects of trauma. This is a move that the Surgeon General of California has actually put in place because they recognize that these effects are not just for now, she added. Turning to the use of various drugs, Longmore reasoned that it was well established that a significant percentage of violent incidents had been linked to substance abuse. In carrying out her job as a psychiatrist, the government senator said she and other professionals in psychiatry have seen an increase in the number of parents seeking help for their children who have been visiting herb houses to use marijuana. She said the uptick in the use of these substances started in the wake of the decriminalization of less than 2 ounces of ganja in 2015. This is the very thing that we tried to warn about. There is significant benefit that can be had, but we must recognize that there are negative effects to the irresponsible use of these substances, and there is no question that it contributes to violence in our society. What them say, kill and collect, smoke and forget. It is a very real phenomenon, and we need to effect control. No repatriation now for Jamaicans in China, Johnson Smith says. The government today said that based on the advice of public health experts, it has accepted recommendations not to proceed at this time with repatriation of Jamaicans from Wuhan, China, in the wake of the coronavirus outbreak. According to Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, Kamina Johnson Smith, she has been mandated by the Prime Minister and Cabinet to explore the possibility of repatriating Jamaican citizens from Wuhan and had followed through on the task. I reached out immediately to partner countries who were evacuating their citizens, explored regional partnerships with countries who also have students and teachers there, as well as a sole GOJ approach by charter of sufficient capacity, to cover the distance. Regrettably, none of those options have proved workable. We note that many foreign nationals remain in Wuhan, as several countries who evacuated citizens focused primarily on government employees and were also ultimately limited by capacity and other considerations, Johnson Smith said. Through our continued dialogue with relevant MDAs, they assessed the risk involved, the current circumstances including still unabated dengue and flu season, as well as efforts being made to expand the capacity of the healthcare system to quarantine or isolate persons based on the natural flow of travel to Jamaica. In that context, they recommended that this avenue not be pursued at this time, the minister added. Johnson Smith indicated that the government is encouraged by and continue to give thanks to reports that to date Jamaican citizens in China remain in good health. She sought to assure the public that notwithstanding the current assessment, the government will continue to monitor the situation in China. We will do all that is possible to support Jamaicans in China, even with our small staff in Beijing, along with the support of the Jamaican Association in China and the Chinese authorities through our respective embassies, she said. Johnson Smith encouraged members of the Jamaican community in China to advise of any challenges with basic needs, as the government is assured that where challenges arise, the foreign affairs offices in the respective provinces in China will do their best to assist. The foreign minister also encouraged Jamaicans in provinces where travel is still permitted to advise their groups or the embassy if they move or leave China, so they can be in the best possible position to help if needed. JBN, we keep you informed. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, leave us a comment and click the notification bell to receive our daily news items.